We are starting to get awfully close to the end. So far so good. The only thing I have done between the last video and this one here today is that I somehow managed to get these 90-degree fittings in here, which I would have loved to include in front of a camera. However, I know that the video and the channel would have never been monetized afterwards, so I needed to do that off camera. Now, how far are we here? The PSU still needs to go in, a bit of cable management, the GPU, and this looks, yeah, this looks like we are really awfully close to the end. Now I just see here we have the power connector, which I will just quickly connect to just completely forget about it later on, because otherwise I will forget it, and then I will never forget it later on because PC doesn't boot. So let's just quickly connect that little sucker. P-LED plus and P-LED minus. Okay, connected. So far so good. I did do something else that I forgot. I found my riser cable. Or the original riser cable that came with the case, which we truly need because it's basically one specific type of riser cable that works here at all. So I'm glad that I found it. And it's inside now, and I guess that means it's time to slap the GPU in. But let me just quickly put these in. Yes, everything in this build has a very specific order in which things need to be put together, otherwise they just won't fit. It's devastating, but at least it works. Okay, now the GPU, which I already tested, fits, but that's one hell of a tight fit. And just to triple check, but this should still close just fine, if I manage to get the hooks. Okay, yeah, it still closes just fine, no issue there. So let's screw in the GPU. Perfect. Clicked in, and here is this cable that we will need to connect later on, where usually you would have like an adapter cable, which I'm not so sad about losing, honestly, because that connector or that adapter was like 30-40 centimeters long, so it would have created a mess in here, which now I'm glad I just can't create in the first place. Hence I will leave this in, and honestly it is not beautiful, of course not, but I've seen worse, to be honest. You know what? Now I have everything ready. Let me just quickly do some cable management to hide all of these fan cables and connect all of the fans to the same header. That way that's already done and I don't need to do it later on. That's a good idea. I'm actually kind of proud of this. So everything is routed towards the bottom here, and because I have that space in between the front of the case and the bottom radiator, I could just squish everything in there. And the bottom ones and the signal coming from the motherboard or the CPU fan header is routed through behind this panel here. This is still from the pump, which is not connected until now, because the next step would be to put in the power supply. And the other advantage I have, because I've done things in this way, is that if I'm not wrong, I will hide the cables a bit more thanks to the power supply. So let's install this one and see where it leads us. Yeah, it really doesn't matter at all. So now like this, but let's be smart and already route the GPU cables to the back. Otherwise that will create troubles down the line. PCIe, this is CPU, this stays in the front. So basically like this, and please do not fall down now. something like that. Yes. And this now mounts to this bracket. Number 1. And screw number 2. Perfecto. Something like that, yeah. Ah, perfect. Now round 2 of endless cable management. This episode is brought to you by cable management, because we all hate it. Okay, every power connector, well, the GPU power connectors, the motherboard power connector, the CPU power connector, everything is hooked up, and now we are going to start this thing. The reason we are doing this is because of bad experience. So it's relatively easy. Before I proceed with filling up the loop, because that's essentially the next step, or closing off the loop more, I would like to see if the whole thing still boots. Or let's say that something went wrong with the GPU and maybe it's not working anymore. You never know what could happen. Or more, because I've seen that happen too often. That's why I will boot this thing now, because it's a 5800X and a 3070 which will boot into BIOS. So there isn't enough heat to make that thing do anything essentially. It will just be hot for a minute, but not like overheat or anything. At least not on BIOS. Waiting for a post. Oh, and of course I disconnected the pump. Running the pump dry is a really bad idea. But let's give it a minute. Oh, I saw something happen here on the screen. I just didn't look. I think it said ASRock. Okay, it says ASRock. Reboot and select proper boot device. Great, so it was just memory reconfiguration on that type of stuff. Great, so the PC still works, we can proceed. Now, to be honest, I wanted to leave like the whole tubing thing for its own episode, but you can see that this is going to be really freaking short. So it's going to be this, the top red to here, this to the bottom red to the pump to the top red. That's it. It's a really easy loop. And yes, as I said in the beginning, we are not going to use any reservoir. Now, this is not the best idea as in maintenance or to see how much liquid you still have and that type of stuff. And that's just an option which I'm going to lose now in a minute. I really wanted to use a reservoir in here, but the hell, where would I put it? There is no space for a reservoir. The best idea I had was to install a 120 cube thing on here and then somehow mount it, but I don't have a 120 cube thing, so that's just not an option. Unfortunate, but that's just the reality right now. Maybe clean cut. Yeah, this is like a really tight fit in there, but it should work. It's just really freaking hard to get it in somehow. I'm trying to loosen up the screws around for the brackets that keep the radiator in place, in hopes that I can somehow elevate it a millimeter or two, just to help me get this the fittings in there. Yeah, this should help like a lot. Yeah, now it's basically free. Yeah, but I can't do that in the bottom, I guess. Please do not judge me, I still didn't buy proper tooling for this. Now let's somehow fiddle this back in. Looks perfect. Let's screw this sucker down again and proceed with the next one, which takes a bit longer than expected. But that's like a general water cooling thing. Water cooling takes longer than expected. Perfect. The top is essentially finished, so I guess I can close the top bracket here, like this. And this one, which may or may not give me some sort of stability. But from here, where are we? Where do we need to go? So we have the bottom, the top red connected from there into the GPU, GPU out into the bottom, and then on the other side in again. But can I somehow make this easier for myself? 90 degree, 90 degree, 90 degree. Let's do the other side first. So where are we here? From here we need to go into this one, so why not just cut it and connect it? Wow, this was the first one that I would consider easy adjacent. Yes, now the bottom one. Dig. It's going to be the same like radiator madness as we had in the top. Except for the fact that this goes like down, so I can just like push it somehow. I guess that makes stuff a bit easier, but it's... I wouldn't call this easy in any way. Note to myself for the future, just pre-connect a bunch of tubes. I guess that makes stuff a lot easier. Because right now it's like impossible to get to it, and even if I can't like feel what I'm doing there. Although I do not like the option because I would mess up all of my cabling, I think the best idea is to just remove the bottom. Like the whole bottom, and then do the same thing we did in the top essentially. Or can I? Oh no, I can remove only the radiator. That works too, I guess. But maybe let's put this on the tube so I don't... Yeah. So I don't mess up too many things here. I have so many cables that are just in my way all the time. Without breaking anything, please. For the love of God. Come on. You can do it. I think I already messed up the whole cabling. I can redo basically everything. Yeah, let's just do it like this now. Now, if we're already here, I can also just like, take my time with it. Look at what the previous, I don't know, the closing part of the fitting did to the tube. It's very close to cut. I have no clue why that happened. Can I now close this down the way it was before? Please close down the way it was before. This was so much work. Oh boy, doesn't seem like anything broke until here. So this still needs to go into the GPU and this needs to go into the GPU out. And from the other side we need one more cut and connect on here, on the pump. In or out, I honestly don't really know. But it seems like we are really close to done. Of course my whole cable management kinda went away. Making me kind of sad, but I mean, what can you do? Anyway, I'm not really that happy that I have this whole cable block hanging in there, but we are going to figure it out once we are done. But for today, I'm just leaving it like this. I'm done. This was a bit too much to handle for now. So yeah, for next time, we are going to close the 3 last fittings, the 3 last connections, and then I guess, filling, which is going to be fun because we have no reservoir and we're going to fill it through one of the radiators, which is not going to be a fun adventure for the whole family. But okay, I hope to see you in the next one, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.